Gentiana may have her eyes eternally shut for the most part in Final Fantasy Brave Exvius, but you shouldn't be sleeping on this unit. Gentiana is a free unit from the current King Mog. You get her base 5-star form from an EP reward pretty early on. I think it's around 7,000 points or so, and then you can buy her Prism to 7-star her in the King Mog Exchange shop for 150,000 King Mog Exchange currencies. In there as well, you can pick up her TMR for 300,000 total King Mog currency and her Super TMR for 600,000 total King Mog currency. Let's go over Gentiana and why you should be sleeping on this Sleepin' Shiva. Okay, so her TMR here is Gentiana's outfit. It's pretty okay. It's nothing super insane. It does have 46 magic, 32 spirit, 22 defense, and 20% ice resistance. So nothing super crazy. You can pick this up, like I said, from the King Mog with a little bit of extra grind action on there. And Gentiana is going to help you get those extra King Mog currencies because she's also a 200% bonus unit in her 7-star form. Her Super TMR is the Mark of the Glacian, which gives you 50% magic and then increases evoke damage by 25%. This might work differently than Evo plus 25%. It's worded differently, so I'm not sure if this works like Leviathan plus 75% evoke Leviathan damage like the CG Nicole's Super TMR does or not. But this is pretty good. It's for a veteran player, you're not going to really care about it too much. For a newer player, flat 50% magic. You can put this on anyone you want. This might be one of your better Super TMRs. You're gonna have to do the King Mog. It's gonna be 600,000 currency. Luckily, you are gonna be able to get Gentiana for 200% bonus unit. You do get an Iris and I do believe a Core for 50 and 75% bonus unit as well. And it should be easier than ever to get a 200% friend bonus unit due to Gentiana existing in the King Mog. So let's go over her skills, stats, equipment, all of that stuff. So her weapon selection here, we have the access to the legendary rod type weapon as well as some whips, staves, and daggers. Her armor selection is going to be robes as well as clothing and some light hats. So pretty substantial, easy to get access armor. Now let's go over her skills. So right away at 5-star level 1, she's going to have Infinite Icebreaker, which is a 4-turn cooldown available on turn 1. She's going to be primarily the Chaos Wave Chaining Frame family in Infinite Icebreaker. 4-turn cooldown available right away. It's going to be a 32 times ice magic damage multiplier with a 110% ice resistant imperil upon all of the enemies that you're currently facing. So AoE 32 times mod, that's actually really strong right out of the gate. That's some impressive damage on a skill like this. Obviously, you can only use it once every 4 turns, but it's something you're going to be using every 4 turns. She has Breath of the Glacian here. Traditional 4.2 piddly skill, nothing really to talk about there. She has Frozen Flurry to help you fill your evocation gauge, but you're not using that for damage. Silvery Protection here can boost your ice resist by 60% for 3 turns all allies, as well as make your team attack and magic break resistant for 3 turns as well. So a little bit of support action there. You guys might have someone in your team, probably like a support that can do that already. If you're a newer player though, that might be something to know that you have in your back pocket supportive wise. Now she has Ice Dance here, which is Blade Prison Frames. This isn't really a chaining frame family. It's like there's only a couple units that can have it. Notably is going to be Lauren, but this is also going to be a 65% ice imperil in case you need to fall back from the other imperils you have in your kits, although you probably won't have to fall back. So keep that in mind though, in case you have to dispel the boss or something, you can fall back to this 65% imperil. Now we have Frozen Fractals, which is her go-to basic damage dealing skill. It's going to be Chaos Wave Chaining Frames. Ice magic damage 5 times multiplier with consecutive increase. It increases by a 2.5 multiplier each time, up to 6 times total, and it goes all the way up to a 20.0 multiplier. So 6 casts of this was going to cap it out at a 20 times mod, and it's not very hard to get those 6 casts off of Frozen Fractals. Now he also has a W cast, double frozen. I think I said he also is it's Shiva, but we have dual cast right away here. And then get into her 7-star form, we unlock some pretty important skills. We have Feast of the Divine, which is a very nice supportive skill. Fire, Ice, and Lightning resistance of 100% for 2 turns to your entire party, as well as that attack and magic break resistance comes back once again. She has Absolute Freeze, which is going to be ice magic damage 12 times mod to one enemy with increased limit burst gauge of 3 to the caster. You probably won't use this one. This is also a chain finishing skill. We have Snow Covered, which is definitely something you're going to be using. It's going to be a 5-turn cooldown available on turn 1. It's going to have a 100% in peril for 3 turns to all enemies, a 200% magic buff for yourself for 3 turns, and then it's gonna give you quadruple frozen for 4 turns, and that sounds like quadcast. It is quadcast, so you get quadcast for 4 turns to the caster as well. So she's got that almost permanent quadcast from just this skill alone, and she has another way to unlock quadcast. Her final skill is going to be the Glacial Kiss, 4-turn cooldown, available on turn 4. Ice magic damage 24 times multiplier to all enemies, and it's going to increase your evocation gauge by 3 to 4 crystals. This is also the Chaos Wave chaining frame family, so you use this when it comes up because it's going to be a little bit stronger than your Frozen Fractal skill, which is a 20.0 multiplier. Those multipliers are very high for mages that we have right now, and it doesn't really take her that long to get going on stacking those up, because turn 1 you can already W cast, and you can go ahead and you can W cast Snow Covered with Frozen Fractals if you want to just set up that turn, and then the turn after that you'll have quad cast and you can cast Frozen Fractals, Frozen Fractals, Frozen Fractals, Infinite Icebreaker, or reverse of that, you're going to cast Infinite Icebreaker first for the 110% in peril, followed by triple Frozen Fractals, and then you can go quad Frozen Fractals, and you're going to be already stacked up right then and right there on that turn. So very strong abilities so far. Let's go into her passives here. We have Magic, HP, and MP 20%, Ice Resist 20%, Immune to Blind because she's got those eyes shut. All right, Magic plus 50%, 3 Limit Burst Gauge Crystals per turn, 5% MP regeneration per turn, Defense and Magic 30%, Evil Mage 30%, 7% more MP refresh till 12% per turn. She can counter physical and magical attacks with a refreeze, which is going to be an ice resistance buff, so nothing crazy there. She has 30% more magic and spirit, 100% high tide, 3 limit burst gauge crystals per turn, so it's going to be very easy to forget her limit burst off due to the 6 limit burst gauge crystals per turn so far, as well as the 100% high tide. If you have her TMR or super TMR equipped, you're going to proc her trust ability, and her trust ability is really not that strong. It's 20% MP, 40% ice resistance, and 50% increase bonus stats from Shiva. A lot of you guys really love these increased bonus stats passives. They're really not the craziest things in the world. You're going to want to be using the Esper that's going to give you the right magic killer for the fight that you're doing. So if you're fighting a human, you're going to put Diablos on. If you're fighting a beast, you're going to put a Freed on, etc., etc. Shiva doesn't have any killers, so 99.999, actually like 100% of the time, you're just not going to be using Shiva in the form that she has right now. So not important to really proc that trust ability, which for you new players out there is going to be a good thing, because that means that you don't really need to get her TMR or super TMR if you don't really, if you don't get access to them. You're going to want to get them, but if you don't get them, you can still use Gentiana. It's actually not going to make her any worse of a character for you. Now, she does have Magic plus 20%, as well as Magic plus 40%, 30% limit burst damage, and then she gets 50% true dual wield magic and 50% true double hand magic. She doesn't have any native dual wield, so you're gonna have to give her a way to actually dual wield weapons if you want to go the true dual wield route, or you can just go ahead and do the true double hand route. Whatever way is going to be best is literally going to be determined based on what gear you have, because she's got 50% of both. The true double hand one is probably gonna be a little bit easier. Her refreeze, like we said, is 50% ice resistant counter for 1 turn to all allies, so really nothing important. And then quadruple frozen is that quadra cast. She has Diamond Dust, surprise surprise, for her limit burst. Yes, she does transform into Shiva. It's pretty cool. It does ice magic damage 30 times multiplier to all enemies, so nothing super insane. She does have a little bit of limit burst damage, so it's gonna help her out there. It's gonna be just under like a 40 times multiplier, 39 times multiplier, and it's going to unlock quadruple frozen for you again for 4 turns to the caster. So Gentiana is a very powerful free mage. I suspect a lot of you guys out there, especially if you just started the game, you don't have any mages at all, don't sleep on her. She's very, very strong, pretty straightforward and easy to build to. Just get as much magic as you can on her while having as many of the proper killers in your kit as well. At least try to put 1 killer in your materia slot when building any sort of damage dealer. So whether Man Eater Plus or the Man Bug Eater Plus that we have access to, anything with a plus that gives increased damage to magic damage for your character between Espers, and that is going to go a long way here. And then try to max out her magic. I've seen a lot of Gentianas out there from a lot of veterans who are using her. She's got like 3,000 magic. It's actually crazy insane. She's got a 200% buff, very easy to use, and like I said, those multipliers, very, 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 very powerful. So 20 times mod, she should be right around like soul. She's like soul tier damage. Obviously she can only do ice damage, but we're talking soul tier damage. That's a character people were pulling for just not that long ago, and here's Gentiana right up there with him, locked into ice, but still putting up those numbers, guys. So if you want to see more stuff like this, you know where to follow. Hit the subscribe button, notification bells on for Final Fantasy Brave Exvius and other Final Fantasy content. If you want to see the stream as well, go ahead, head on over there. there. Click the follow button there, and make sure you get those notifications turned on for social media, Twitter, etc., etc. Love you guys out there. Thank you so much for spending a little bit of your time here today. Check out Gentiana. Don't sleep, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care, guys.